Okay, so we already saw the problem and now how the problem is evolving and what are the main actors.
So, so how is it evolving? Every year on January 1st, the Bureau of Reclamation, and actually everyone on the basin, just look at the Lake Mead, the elevation of Lake Mead, and based on that is the water allocation that will be distributed on that year. On the U.S. side is mostly, the lower states, so the lower states and Mexico, which is now, working, no, that is Mexico depends on the elevation of Lake Mead, and the water allocation depends on the elevation of Lake Mead. So I think that's what we are going to be seeing. There is already, the Bureau already made a prediction on what will be the water elevation. So also it's not going to be anything new. Pretty much everyone knows how much water will be allocated the following year. And again, this is just kind of on the U.S. side. On Mexico, we have other actors and other institutions.
Yeah, for sure. The main actors in Mexico are the water users. So we can basically distinguish two groups. We have on one side the Mexicali Valley, which receives the water from the states and through the Morelos Dam in Mexicali and the Sanchez Mejorada Canal in San Luis Rio Colorado. And then part of this water is exported to Tecate and the coastal zone of Baja California, Tijuana, Rosarito, and Ensenada. And then we have the institutional actors. No?
Yeah, the institutional actors are, first of all, the International Boundary and Water Commission, the IBWC. That's the institution that is in charge of quantifying and organizing the Colorado River, the water deliveries at the north and the south boundary. We also have, in the federal level, the National Water Commission, CONAGUA, which operates the main headworks of the Morelos Dam and the Sanchez Mejorada Canal. We also have the main water users, the Irrigation District number 14, that operates the major canal networks, and the civil associations of users, which are 22 irrigation units, and those operate the minor networks. And on the other hand, we have all the operating agencies at the municipal level. We have agencies in Mexicali, in Tijuana, Tecate, and in Ensenada, and they operate in each city. The water that each city receives, and the State Water Commission, and recently created the Secretary for the Protection of Water that was created just a couple of years ago. So as we can see, there's a bunch of institutions, in charge of administrating and managing water in Baja California. Sometimes that complicates things, instead of making things easier, it tends to complicate things.
Leopoldo, as I was listening to you, and you were mentioning all the different towns, Tecate, Tijuana, Rosarito, Ensenada, I was thinking of all the people visiting Baja California and their favorite towns to go and for holidays. So those are the ones that we're talking. Those are the things that are going to be affected. And I think something that perhaps the audience is not that aware, but as there are reductions in the water allocations to the lower states, Utah, Nevada, California, Arizona, it will be the same for Mexico. And that this didn't happen before, now it is happening. I think the other part that is worth mentioning, it is somehow something similar-ish to what's happening in the States, which is all the different users from, you mentioned it pretty well. So Valle de Mexicali, which is kind of at the entrance where the water is allocated. And then we have all the straws. And the last part of the straw is where you live in Ensenada. But we have Tijuana, Tecate, and I mean, all the different users and how water is seen throughout these different parts of Mexico, right?
Yes, the west part of Baja California, the one on the Pacific side, we have struggled with water scarcity for many years. Even Tijuana depends on the Colorado River water in 90%. Ensenada in a less percentage, but all the natural sources of water for Ensenada are aquifers, and they are overexploited, and there's saline intrusion. So, I mean, here we have dealt with water scarcity for a long time, and it's different in Mexicali. Mexicali, as you mentioned, they are the first to receive the water from the Colorado, and their approach to water handling is very different to the west side of the state. Okay, I'm not saying that they use it poorly. It's just that I don't think that they appreciate as much as we do on this side of the state. The water scarcity, and this is evident in the price that we pay for water, because we need to pump in order for water to be put in Tijuana. It has to be pumped through the Sierra, no, La Rumorosa, which is more than 1,000-meter elevation. So it comes from 0 to 1,000 meters. So that requires a lot of energy and a lot of money to pump it over there. So that's why also the price of water in Tijuana and Tecate is much higher than in Mexicali.
Yeah, and for the trivia, right? As you were mentioning, the Sierra, so La Rumorosa, is because it is, it's just along the border in between El Centro and San Diego, which in this case it will be on the Mexican side, Mexicali and Tijuana, sorry, Mexicali. But what I'm thinking there on the Rumorosa is the whisperer, right? And it's because as the wind blows through the Sierra, it makes that kind of whisper, that woo, and which is basically how we call it La Rumorosa, because that's how it sounds. Yeah. Anyways, yep.